Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining. Well, I'm so happy I have Jo from Australia here to talk about how she creates these wonderful wands we're going to be showing today. But we'll get a little background on you and everything so people kind of know who you are and where you're from and all that good stuff, Jo. So welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you, Shane. It's a pleasure to be here.
So you have these beautiful wands you've created for myself as well as the other co-hosts of the Unbiased and On the Fence shows, Eileen and Michelle and Sherry, which they look beautiful. We're going to be showing some up-close images of them as you talk about them. But how about a little bit about Jo first? You're from Australia. What can you tell us?
Okay. I'm a mum, firstly, with two beautiful children. And I live in a beautiful country town. It's a gold mining town. It's so small we don't even have a population sign.
Oh wow, that's really small.
Yeah. No, I'm very fortunate. We're very protected here, I think. You know, just with the surrounding hills, and it's a really beautiful place.
You had mentioned before that you've had you could see some of the smoke and stuff from the fires and stuff like that. But
sorry, Shane.
But they don't get close to where you live, but it can cloud up the sky from your point of view.
Well, we actually do get them pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
We have had a couple of red alerts, evacuation. That's actually happened over the last couple of years. That we've had that. The fires, they've been fairly intense.
Yeah.
But the ones that have just happened, we did have close to like 5 kilometres out of Yakandanda. Is it okay if I mention the name of where I come from, or is it best not to?
Yeah, that's fine. As long as no exact addresses, you'll be fine.
Yeah, no, that's okay. It's not a very big place, so you just go to one of the shops and they'll be able to tell you where everyone lives.
They'll know you're an outsider though, so don't try that one, folks.
Yeah, well, that's it. They'll be on to you. We have beautiful wildlife all around us. I live right at the base of the bushland, so I get to walk in it every day. And when I do, that's when I usually come across the beautiful driftwood that I make the wands for. I just see a piece and I fall in love with it, and it's got to come home with me.
Yeah.
I ask permission first if that's okay, and ask the bush, and I take it home with me, and I just go from there, just with creating what it feels like with a piece of wood. You know, it just seems to speak to me, Shane, and so I just go from there. You know, I usually split the piece of wood in half, so it's the same piece of wood for the wand.
Right.
And then I just I sand it down. There is a little bit of process to do that, just to get it into the right shape, so I can create a mold then to actually pour the resin and then do the design inside. And just generally, I seem to stare at them for, you know, sometimes hours. Because I just have so much excitement. What's this one going to be? What am I going to create from this? And it just all seems to come together quite beautifully. So
it's very cool, because I've gotten the Orgonite pyramids. Now you call these, what do you call them?
Well, look, they haven't been tested, but I love the idea of them being Orgone healing wands. Mm-hmm. And that just comes a lot with I suppose from the very first time, Shane, I heard that when we put anything under a microscope, including ourselves, that we're all pure energy.
Yeah.
And that absolutely resonated with me. And I started looking into things, and I looked into a number of different amazing people from past. And Nikola Tesla, I think he's been quoted as saying the secret to the universe is to understand frequency, vibration, and energy.
Right.
That's the exact quote.
Yeah.
And then I've come across other beautiful people from the past that have tried to help humanity, and unfortunately they haven't had much luck with the way society's set up, that they've usually ended up being destroyed, or their work, or it's, in some way, shape or form, it, hasn't come to pass for the rest of humanity. And, the likes of Royal Rife. Have you heard of Royal Rife before, Shane?
Not sure.
I'm sure that's the right. I'm saying it right there. And he actually was the chappie. He created a new microscope many years back, and that was able to see, I think, the tuberculosis virus that he could see, which you weren't with previous ones able to pick up from.
Right.
The other microscopes that were around, and he noticed they had a certain colour. Certain viruses and cancer cells, different things like that, had a certain colour to them.
Right.
And he noticed that by putting a certain frequency over them, that he was able to destroy those viruses within like 3-minute sessions, I think they were. And I think the original where he did a test, I think, on about 16 patients, cancer patients. 14 of them were cured within a month. I think it was every day for 3 minutes they'd put a frequency over the body, and there was no downtime, there was no pain, nothing at all. And 14 were cured within that time, and I think it took another month for the last 2 to be completely cured as well.
Oh, wow. So this is the Rife frequencies, right? I've heard of that.
That's right.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah, I have heard of that, yeah.
I think it's Royal Rife. I think I've got the right name there, Shane.
Right,
yeah.
right.
But and so he, even 44 physicians came forward and said that this is the cure for all diseases, and he wouldn't sell the rights, like I think, like Wilhelm Reich. He was another chappie who also created the healing chamber, I believe. But it's all done with frequency, Shane. And if it was no big deal, and if it didn't do anything for them, why all the trouble to silence them? And it's something that as soon as I heard about it, it resonated. It just made sense. And so I'm just hoping that I put my beautiful, loving energies over the wands whenever I do them, and I think just that intent, and that everything else seems to be channeled as far as with the wands. I don't know if they are any, if they do anything as far as.
I'm sure you put loving intention into it, so.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge thing.
It is, yeah.
I think we underestimate that just in itself. I mean, all these are beautiful tools to use, but I think that we actually have the ability within ourselves.
Absolutely. The funny thing is I've been hearing more and more people that's been getting the urge to start doing more art or gardening or something, that sort of connects them with nature. And you were inspired by one of Michelle and I's episodes where we were talking about doodling and stuff. That's sort of what started this ball rolling, right?
It was just, I listen to you guys, and I just, it's a community that I feel so grateful to be a part of. And I know whenever I click onto you guys that I'm always going to have just that inner calmness come over me. And it's just amazing just watching all of you. But that is right, that with you guys talking about doodling, it's a great word, that one. And and so that's what I did. I just thought, I've just got to do this, and it's just come from there.
That's beautiful.
The wand itself is, there is a little bit of a backstory. I was visiting a girlfriend down the street who lives above in a beautiful antique shop, and there was a lady there, and she had a lot of stuff to move around, and I happened to ask her if she needed a hand with anything. And I gave her a little hand, but she said, "You don't happen to have a magic wand by any chance, do you?" And I said, "No." Anyway, the next week I happened to run into her again. She said, "You don't have that magic wand yet, do you?" And I thought, right, okay, I've got to do something about this. So I actually made her a little wand, and I've got another little one just here. I'll hold up for you in a second if you like, Shane.
Sure, yeah.
But it was my first prototype. It was made actually out of have you heard of Palo Santo wood?
Not right off.
It's a wood that they used to burn, very similar to sage, to
okay.
to clear the energies, or for healing and things like that.
Right.
and it's got a beautiful scent to it. And so what I did, I'll just hold this one up here. It's only very tiny. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, it's a little bit blurry. You might want to back it up just a tad bit.
I'll bring it up this way.
Yeah, that way, yeah.
Yeah. But so you've got this Palo Santo wood on both sides, and you can actually smell the wood. It keeps with it. It's particular a scent to it. It's absolutely beautiful. But inside, what I did for the other lady was I crushed amethyst and placed it inside. And I loved it. And I did this little one. I think this one might be citrine, inside the crushed citrine. But I just felt it didn't have enough substance to it or something. I needed to go further with it. And that's when I come across, when I'm walking in the bush and look, coming across this beautiful wood and going, that's what I need to work with.
Right. So that one's much smaller, right? It looks smaller.
A lot smaller. It is, yeah. So, and I also wanted something a bit more substantial because I knew I wanted to make something for you and, to give back. And I thought, you can't be holding a little thing like that. You need something with a bit more substance to it.
It's absolutely perfect. And I'd really like to go into the process of sort of how you do it. I mean, you don't have to do step by step, but so you find the wood and then you shape it, or what's sort of the process?
So I shape it, and then I what I do then is I put a plastic mold in between. It's something that I just create through just not a hard, solid plastic, but it's got a bit of a flexibility to it.
Mm-hmm. So do you actually cut the piece of wood and then separate it to create the area?
And then separate it.
Okay, that way it's the same. That's why it looks so perfect then.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So it's all of the one, so it's still got the same energies running through it.
Right.
I've just got a puppy dog coming into the room.
No problem.
I've got a coda, like Michelle's got a Zoe, I've got a coda.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we love our animals here, so.
Yeah, no, we certainly do. And so I do that, and then while I'm putting that all together, that's when the inspiration comes of what does this wand want? And I do speak to the wands. I ask the wand to channel the energy of where you'll be going and who you'll be with, and it pretty much to the point tells me when the last stroke is done, when it's done. I just know, and it tells me. I know that sounds strange.
No, not at all. I totally get it. Let's actually go into the one that you created for me, because this is so beautiful. And I'm showing some up-close pictures of it so you can see. It's actually got a piece of little barbed wire in there. It looks like a little fence with fence posts and the crystal. Explain what we're seeing in this little scene, because I thought it looked like a little scene with it being sort of golden on one side and blue on the other. Sort of
that's exactly... Yeah. Sorry, Shane. That's exactly what it is. It's Australian outback style, unbiased and on the fence.
I love that.
So what I've done is I've tried to create the beautiful colours of the Australian outback with the red sands and the orange reddy sand and the beautiful blue skies, and typically you'll always see a beautiful old old fence somewhere in the paddocks or somewhere like that. And so I was thinking, gee, how do I do this? And so I had to find little pieces small enough and try and mold them into little woods, fence postings. Right. So I was able to drill it. So what I've done is this, down at the bottom is the orange sand, the red sand. And what I've actually included in that is Australian gold flakes, as to represent, the Australian,
Yeah,
well, I come from in town, so. Yeah. And then the next was the fence, and so I wanted to put the crystal as part of one of the fence posts, but I didn't have a drill bit that could go through the crystal that was strong enough. So I'm thinking, oh dear, what do I do now? Because I've got the two little fence posts, and I've just got some copper, because I've heard that that's a great conductive. Is that the word?
Conductive, yeah.
Yeah, and so I've heard that that's a really great medium, and so what I've done is I've got the two little posts, and I'm able to drill a hole through them to be able to put the barbed wire fence through that I twitched out of the copper.
Right.
And then what I've done is made it out like the farmer's come along, and on his property there was already a crystal that was growing through, and he's decided to use that as his fence post,
Oh, nice.
to extend out, for the crystal to come through. So that's why it looks like it's pushed up through the copper,
I love that.
so,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the beautiful skyline that goes with it. Yeah.
Well, I
So
absolutely love it. It is absolutely beautiful, and I can tell it took a long time to get all that little scene set up right. It looks so intricate in there, with. So you had to make the barbed wire yourself too by sort of twisting it
yeah,
and
I
giving it the little
I
barbs and
did.
all that. Wow.
I put the little barbs on it as well.
Wow.
The whole lot. It's all done by hand. So I just, like I said, it just comes to me. I'm making a wand at the moment, and it's a little wombat with a wombat burrow, like a little, well, not a burrow, but like an old tree that's fallen, that's hollow.
Mm,
And I thought, gee, where am I going to find a piece small enough that, like a little twig nearly,
right.
that's hollowed out to make this look like a log for the wombat. And it just comes to me, the beautiful bark out on the tree that's losing its bark at the moment, on the beautiful gum, and it's got the beautiful rolled up bark. And I
Yeah.
was just be off to take that little piece, and it's hollowed right through. But when you set it, it looks like a beautiful little piece of wood.
Yeah.
So it all just keeps on coming to me, Shane. Yeah.
That is really cool. Let's talk about
Yeah.
some of these other ones you created for. Let's
Oh,
see.
for the other girls, sorry.
Yeah. Whichever order
Yes.
you want to. Whichever one comes to mind.
Okay. So, um, I just tried to feel the energies of the girls, and what the ones tell me who they belong to. I believe
Yeah.
they. That's that one. That's that one.
Right.
That's for Eileen. That's for Sherry. That's for Michelle,
Right.
and obviously that's for Shane. But no, those ones they were being made while I was still working out how to do your scene,
Mm-hmm.
and those ones come a little bit easier. They just seem to just know where they wanted to go, the little pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and Sherry's, I mean, each of the girls, just I suppose a bit of their personality it was coming through a little bit in them. The artistic side of Michelle, and that gorgeous youthfulness in Eileen that I just absolutely love,
Yeah.
with the magic mushroom and it growing out of that, and Sherry just with her, she's got this angelic presence about her,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
that's where the angel wing one came from with the halo. So yeah,
Beautiful. Well, Sherry cried. The other girls were so happy. Michelle hasn't got to see it very well. She said it was the camera was pixelated, so she'll probably see it on this video better than until she gets it in the mail or whatever. It shouldn't be too long. But
yeah.
everybody loved it. I'll give them all your email because they want to thank you personally, and it's just
I can't wait.
so beautiful. So how do you go about using it? Is it just applying your intentions? I've been using it with my jug of water, and sort of, I don't know, just imagining even more energy because I normally do that with my water. Like I imagine like this vortex of rainbow. I don't know, almost like a tornado of rainbow energy and love going into my water, and I felt like it was so much more powerful with my wand this time. I could totally imagine just pulling all this Australian energy and everything with it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Um, yeah, that's exactly what it's about. Absolutely. Just your beautiful intentions and just hoping that it will just even put it out even stronger out into the universe. And to any intentions like over the water with its memory that water holds. And
Yeah.
yeah, so no, that's absolutely perfect for anything that you want with beautiful intentions, healing, anything that you want to manifest in your life. That's what it was about. Just constantly feeling those energies for you guys, and we're only wanting the best for you. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Let's also talk about, I forgot to talk about this part. So after you sort of create the scenes and put it all together, you have another couple of processes with beeswax and water from the waterfall and all that. I don't want to miss that part because I thought
Yeah,
that was
no,
great.
that's okay. So it takes a little while I can speed up the process of the resin setting. I haven't done that as yet. I've let it do its full process. It's usually about a 24-hour process. I can heat up the resin to make it go faster. I just haven't been game to do that at this stage. It just hasn't felt a need. So once it's all set, I then am able to take away the mold around the resin, and then from that stage there, because it's a handmade mold, I need to take off a fair bit of resin and bring it back down to its proper size. So a lot of it's just
sanding it down or something?
Sanding it down with all different grades of sandpaper, Shane, right down until about 1200, I think, is what I use, and I end up putting that sandpaper underwater at the very end, just to really give it that beautiful polishing.
Right, because it doesn't look sanded at all. It feels very smooth, but it doesn't look scratched and sanded looking. So.
Well, I even use a knife as well to whittle it down as well. So it's a matter of just taking that time to going down those stages with the sandpaper, and making trying to buff out all the little fine bits and everything else. So it is a process, I must admit. But it's so enjoyable though. It really, for some reason, it just is. It's absolutely, I get so much pleasure out of it. And so what I do then is, when I think that I've finally got exactly how the one says, yes, I'm done, I then put a beautiful beeswax, which is a local, we've got it's called Beechworth Honey. It's a town over, it's another gold mining town as well. And it's where I get your gold from.
Very nice.
And what I do is, and then I just give it a lovely coating, and then I take it down to the beautiful creek that we have. It runs right through. There's an old we've got a lot of Chinese in Yakandanda, and also in Beechworth in the cemetery. There was a lot of Chinese that were here with the gold mining, and there's a beautiful, it's nearly like the China Wall. My sister and I found it many years ago, before we think before the rest of the public ever found it, refound it again. When we were little girls. It was never ever spoken of. It was amazing, but it's right next to the creek, where they obviously did a lot of gold panning and mining and things. And so that it's always running, absolutely coming down from the mountains. When I did a little bit of research on the Orgone energy, I heard with the 5G, I heard that was positive ions, and they're more like your free, I believe your free radicals, sort of not so great for the body, where the negative ions are supposed to be fantastic. And so in that report, it actually said that running water was a beautiful way, was very highly charged with the negative ions. And I thought, well, with the gold mining Old Creek, where it's, and with all the beautiful minerals and everything in the water, and it's just it's so oxygenated, the water,
right,
that it just felt right to just place them in amongst the water and let the water flow over them, just as that final energy boost before I send them on their way. Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. So wow, we really have so much of the land, the water, the air, and everything in these magical wands, if you will, from Australia.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I'd love to have them tested, but that maybe that's somebody out there that might be able to do that. Who knows?
They'll
Somebody
have to come
listening.
to my house. I'm not letting them borrow my wand.
You're a sweetheart. Sorry, Shane. But I was watching, I don't know if you've seen Kerry Cassidy from Project Camelot, and she was interviewing this lady who was an expert on shungite. And that's something that I'd love to look into with the wands as well, because apparently the lady was mentioning they've got to do testing on it, but about 2 weeks ago, they believe that shungite, like humans, have a connective consciousness.
Oh, wow.
So whatever's felt resonates right across. If you've got a piece in your home, if anything happens, it upgrades the whole lot of the shungite right across the world.
Wow.
It's really apparently. Have you heard of C60?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, carbon 60.
Apparently that's where it's found in the shungite.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And over in Russia. And so there was supposedly, I'm not too sure if it's, I mean, I'm a bit unsure about meteorites or whatever. I'm not,
Right.
but that's what it was said that was crushed or exploded or something over the site of this shungite site. I mean, it's a fairly large site of shungite, but what people believe is that this blue meteorite, if that's what it was, gave the shungite worldwide an upgrade.
Nice.
Which was really interesting. And I happen to, where I get my beautiful quartz crystals from is a beautiful lady in a couple of towns across. And I've been speaking to her, and she's getting the ones that she's been sourcing beautiful crystals and shungite and different ones like that have come from people that have pretty much mined them. So they haven't gone through a lot of hands, which is what I'm really would like to be able to access. And so she has this shungite, and I bought a piece and I brought it home, and I've never felt anything so strong in my hand before as far as an actual stone goes. It was,
Wow.
it made all of us guys just giggle. My kids and I, we were just giggling. We didn't know what was going on. It has really changed the environment within the home.
Wow. Now I've heard of people
I have
grinding it
noticed.
up and painting, mixing it in with their paint and then painting their walls and having it sort of like their whole house covered in shungite by just mixing
Who's
the
doing
powder in.
this?
I don't know. Some YouTuber I heard talking about. He
Oh,
was going to try it
wow.
out because I guess it's supposed to create a shield against 5Gs and things like
Well,
that.
that's yeah, look, I thought the same actually, Shane, but from what they were talking about, 5G, it absolutely, because where I bought the shungite from,
Hmm.
she showed me that with testing it with an EMF, that when you place it on the phone, that it completely, you couldn't even pick up a signal or anything. It just completely shut down. It I suppose, muted all of that radiation.
Wow. So you can't even get a signal though.
Couldn't get a signal. 5G, however, I don't believe it covers 5G shungite.
Oh, okay.
But what they're wondering is with human intention, because
Yeah.
they say that we can heal ourselves, that we're pretty powerful ourselves, along with being able to get onto the same resonance as the shungite frequency,
Hmm.
that those two together between yourself and the shungite may be strong enough to protect you from the 5G.
Oh, okay.
But I don't. But with this upgrade, maybe that's different. Maybe it has put an extra shield out against the 5G. I'm not too sure.
Well, I know the
But
5G is really weak as far as it's such a small bandwidth. It's hard for it to penetrate anything anyway. So it's probably so small it's slipping through the cracks with the shungite, though. That's what I
well,
would think.
I'll tell you what. I'm actually homeschooling my daughter at the moment, but she would love to go to this private school, and so I have put an application in for her, so on the waiting list. And unfortunately, though, my hesitation, I'd love to do it for my daughter, but there is right on their football oval a 5G tower, and 5G has just been switched on in that town.
Oh, okay.
Why they have it placed right there over the children
Yeah, that's been going
makes
on for a while. I know over here it has, where they have the high voltage power lines will be on the government property, which is located next to the schools and libraries and all the public, so like all the people, places you go, the public goes to congregate, whether it's school or the library or whatever, is the same land where they'll have these high power lines and towers located because it's their land. So is it accidental? I mean, because if you think about the induction the children are being exposed to all day long in some of these other locations with just electricity. We're not even talking 5G towers. We're talking just regular old power lines, high
yeah.
voltage power lines. It's, yeah, there's been all sorts of studies with that. So I don't know what to think about that. I don't know if it's sort of, I know people think it's on purpose, and maybe it is, but you know, I don't know.
Or it's just not very smart.
Right. That's typically what it seems to do, you know.
With those high-powered, when I was a little girl, about the age of 4, with those high-powered telephone poles,
Yeah.
there was one. We used to have to pass them. Dad did schooling when, in his older years, he did further education, and we used to take him down there where he'd stay there for a while. And we used to go past these high power. And I'm the youngest of 6, and we're all in the Statesy, in the old Statesman, all crammed in, and we'd go past these high power. Communication poles, whatever. And I never told any of my family, but I used to hold my breath because I knew that whatever they were, I didn't want them inside of me.
Right.
I don't know what that was, but there was something as a young girl that I was picking up on. I didn't know how to explain it to my family, so I just held my breath for as long as I could until I was past them, and then I'd be able to breathe again. But I remember that very distinctly, and I've heard that clusters of leukemia and things like that have been found under these people that are living around them, in and around them. So why they're still doing it, I don't know. I'd like to say accidental. Sorry, Shane.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, out of either ignorance or for money, because they already own the property and they'd rather not buy more property just to move the things further away from the children. So I can totally see it natural reasoning for it, economics or just ignorance, like you're saying. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we're protected though. Like we have a star family that's protecting us, and not that you should purposely move next to one and be like it's all right, but I just feel like there's a level of protection that we're not always aware of.
And again, that we have inside us,
Yeah.
that natural healing. The body wants to be in optimal health at all times. So
Yeah.
it'll even reroute itself to if it has to. It's pretty amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think just worrying about it could probably cause more problems. That's why I'm like, if you're there already, don't worry about it. But if maybe not move to that area if you're not there already. So,
Yeah.
just go with your
Yeah.
feelings, because I've been in like the path of, and I thought this was on purpose, but my last 3 houses have been in the path of the runway to our international airport. And at one point, I'm like thinking, man, do they because usually the signal, I'm in a dead zone with my cell phone a lot of the time. It's a really weak signal, and I guess it's so it doesn't mess with the airplanes coming in, or
Yeah.
or whatever it is. But at one point I was like, man, I'm like being protected by because you can't like surveil my place with like a Black Hawk helicopter because it's right in the path where the planes need to come. So of course my wheels are spinning. Was it on purpose? Was it an accident? Is this fate? What's going on? So I don't know.
Paranoia at its best.
Right. They're not going to waste the Black Hawk on me, are they? Okay.
I'm sure they would if they had to.
Right, yeah. But that's the whole thing, you kind of go through this stage where you're like, you feel like you're being targeted and people are after you and they're going to try to shut me up if I'm too noisy. And, perhaps they will, but you got to get pretty noisy, I think, for them to waste the resources on you.
Or accidentally say the wrong thing.
Right. For now, they put me in the shadow ban box, so that's like.
Have they?
Yeah. Like I don't get any organic growth anymore or anything. It's only if somebody shares the videos or something. But it's fine. I appreciate the, I don't know, the smaller group size, the intimacy of being able to actually communicate with people in the chat and not have it run by so fast I can't keep up with it. So I don't know. I always find the silver lining though.
Yeah, look, and what? It's probably just perfectly how it's supposed to be, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like
if
that.
it's too big, you'd be bringing in those energies that it's probably, it's a beautiful community. The viewers, the people, the guests that you have on, I just feel like I could be besties with all of you.
Yeah.
You're just beautiful, beautiful people. And like I said, I was told by my one family member that I had to go out and find my own tribe, put me in my place. But I don't like the idea. I don't think it's a tribe. Tribe feels a little bit exclusive. Something about it. There's usually a chief or something in a tribe or whatever, where this is a community of just openness and allowing for all, and no judgment.
I always think of
Just
it as the ungroup group. It's like
yeah.
it's the one that
I
like
feel much more comfortable in that
right,
ungroup
right.
group.
If you don't want to be in part of any group, come to our group. It's the ungroup
Yeah.
group. Everyone's
Oh, look,
welcome. Just be nice and don't be rude, and everyone can stick around and have an open-minded time. So,
yeah. Yep, that's it. And that's why I felt so driven to give back to you guys. Being on, just myself with the kids, you know, it's a bit hard sometimes to give back, in that other way. So it just came to me. I just had to. I had to. And I expected you to give me your postal address and say thank you very much, and that be the end of it. So I feel so blessed that you've done all this for me, Shane. And
oh my gosh, you took all the time to make these beautiful things and put your heart into it and your intention into it, and it's just so beautiful. So I'm so thankful for that.
oh,
So
thank you, Shane.
how did you first come across the channel though? Was it how long have you been watching, and do
I,
you remember how you found it?
well, just through discernment, I guess. What feels right, what's resonated with me. I've been with you. How long have you been going for?
Since 2017?
Okay, so it would be very close to that date, I believe.
Oh,
Can
okay.
I check that out somehow? Where with my subscription,
Hmm.
what if does it come up with a date at all?
Now you might be able to search your comments for your first comment. I found a few people that way. Like,
Oh,
when's the
rightio.
first comment they've come around? But then people change their names, so you just never know. But
Look, I'm a bit of a lurker.
it's okay.
I sometimes want to go blah and put so much out there, and then I double, and then I question myself, and then and all that, and then I just don't do it at all.
Right, right. You're not alone. Yeah, matter of fact, somebody else left a comment the other day. They said, "Lurkers? How about listeners?" Okay, to all you listeners out there, it's totally fine. You don't have to have a creepy name like a lurker reply to you. It's just a
I
joke.
think it's quite fitting for us, to be honest.
Yeah, sort of peeking in. Is it okay yet? Should I say? I'll wait. I don't know. They might get weird. You never know. Like, yeah, we're pretty weird already, but yeah, you never know. I guess.
Yeah. No, it's been a beautiful thing coming across you guys, and the beautiful girls that I call them girls. I know you call them ladies,
Right.
but us girls, the girls that you have as regulars, with Michelle and Eileen and Sherry, and Alison, and just all the other ones,
Yeah.
that are on every now and then or just on that once. You've just got a real knack for being able to find, people that have just got the most beautiful insight,
I
and
appreciate that.
and the way you handle us all as well. You've got a real skill, Shane. You really do. And I'd also like to thank your family. I know that you must have a beautiful family behind you for you to be able to put yourself forward the way that you do. And
Absolutely, I
that's
appreciate that.
something as well. So
Yeah.
thank you.
And maybe they'll be viewers someday. Who knows?
What was that?
I said maybe they'll be viewers someday. Who knows?
Oh, aren't they? Okay. Oh, they will. It's only time.
Right, yeah. I'm just teasing. I don't expect them to. That's just how it works, you know what I mean? The people closest, they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, my daughter's gone back. One of my daughters has gone back. She's like, I'm trying to catch up. I'm like, you're never going to catch up. You need to just watch the current stuff. She was like way back in the first year. I'm like,
Yeah.
videos get longer and there's more of them. At the beginning, there was like 20-minute videos. And so I've been trying to actually do that. In fact, that's why Sherry and I shifted from doing the paranormal frequencies, longer Monday night shows, to doing these shorter ones that are more produced. And we've got this new Easter egg one coming up that's going to be shorter. So I appreciate having the shorter videos because some people just don't. They're like, dude, that's like an hour investment of my time. 2 hours, 3 hours, that's just too much time. So,
Hey, look, you know what we can do, and it was Eileen who got me onto it. Not with you guys, I don't, because you guys are just go perfect, and it doesn't matter if you go for 2, 3 hours. I really don't care with you guys. I
right.
just love hearing, what you've got to say. I always feel like I've been through that. And, who would think that the sensations that you and Michelle talk about, that you think across the world that somebody else is feeling those exact same feelings, you think you're the only person going through it.
Right.
It's just, it's just beautiful to be able to relate, and
But doing it
get
at
that
2 times speed?
information.
The 2 times speed, is that what you're going to say?
Yes, that's what I was going to tell you. Yeah, that Eileen mentioned about, so you can get
Right.
through them a little bit quicker.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that with me. They were like, I love your videos. Your laugh is so much funnier on 2 times speed. And even
Oh,
the
is it?
intro, I mean, dun, 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 and it's like faster. And yeah, so everything's better faster, I guess. Well, not everything, but
Well, I must admit, I haven't put you guys on the faster speed at all. You've still been on normal.
Well, at
I
least
probably,
enjoy the laugh. That's worth it.
okay, I'll have to check it out just for that.
We were talking about our kids. I wanted to mention how my daughter just texted me last night. She says she goes, I just saw this sparkly orb thing. What is it again? And it's right in front of me to the left. And like I texted her back, and I'm like, oh, actually, it came through a session that's either like a spirit guide or like a portal to the higher realms where you can talk to Jesus or whoever is your sort of spirit team or whatever, and she's like, oh, okay. So she came over today and she's explaining it to me. She said, yeah, I don't know what happened. I just saw the sparkly thing, but we were talking last week that you were starting to see more orbs and sparkly things and stuff too, right? So
Yeah, nearly every day.
yeah,
See, just those. It'll either be a little sparkle or it'll be in a different color, or it's just right there.
yeah,
And I haven't had them like Michelle where they're just being cheeky and sort of just cruising past like that.
right, yeah,
Yeah, I'm hoping to, but no, they're right there, and yeah, and it's. Or sometimes even like little tiny like streaks of beam of light even coming down.
yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
So I've gotten
Just
recently where it looks like there's an orb really close to my eye, and it's just like beneath, so it's making everything brighter at the bottom of
right.
my eye. Instead of it being like an orb or dot or something, it's almost like I've got my cell phone here and it's shining light into my eye, but I don't really see the light. So, and I get that with my eyes closed too. So it's almost
I
like light coming from a certain direction. And have you been getting any of that lately?
not look. The only really different thing as far as light was for me was I just hopped into bed, and as soon as I closed my eyes, I got this massive flash of white light,
Oh, I've gotten those too.
and it was just that quick, and then it was gone, and I'm like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, but that was it. And I've had very much the vibration, in the body,
yeah.
where I think I might have said to you that I thought I was about to take off, and as soon as I was aware of it, it was like they shut the generator off and it went boom. I
Right.
was like, no. Yeah.
That's so cool. So I've gotten the flashes like that, not only laying down and going to sleep, but also like out of the corner of my eye. It's like someone took a picture of me in the room and a flash went off, but you look and nothing's there. So it's this sort of
Okay.
another directional flash thing that happens sometimes. It's really weird.
Okay.
I like to mention
Yeah.
it because other people are like, oh my gosh, I have that too. And so I like to mention all the little weird things that's been picking up lately. And
But they're really great for people to hear about because, like I said, I'm on the other side of the world, and like yours, I think your explanation was like it felt like if the dog was laying beside the bed and scratching themselves or something, it was vibrating the bed.
exactly.
It was exactly like that, but it's all happening. It's such in sync, like. It wasn't 2 weeks ago, or it wasn't. It was when at the same time that you guys are talking about it.
Wow.
It's relevant right then, as if I'm going through it at the exact same times as you guys are.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, yeah, that happened. It's not like, oh, yeah, that happened to me a month ago or something. It's like, yes, that just happened to me too.
Right. I've gotten a
Yeah.
few things from Michelle like that where she had this one thing in the back of her neck that she was talking about, and it
Yeah.
was probably 6 months later before I had it. So I've noticed
Okay.
a few things, but then there's other times when the energy's high or the Schumann's high, and a lot of people are reporting some of the same things at the same time. But then other
Yeah.
times people are wide awake and other people are feeling sleepy. So there does seem to be some individual parts and some synchronistic parts. That's why it's good to
Yeah.
talk about it.
It really is, and you know, to normalize it and just, I mean, they're just things that, you know, if you're on your own, you wouldn't even think to put together with other things that were going on. You know,
Right.
it helps to fill out that big picture, and
Absolutely.
yeah, and make you feel not so isolated, and
Yeah.
you know that you guys do that. It really is beautiful. So many people must get so much pleasure out of listening to you guys. Mm.
Yeah, and people that have health issues as well, you know, because if you've already got some health stuff going on, of course you're going to think, I just started that new medicine. Maybe it's causing these sparkles or flashes, or you're going to think naturally, sort of, you know, just what's the analytical part of your brain's going to say, well, you just started the medicine. Maybe that's what's causing it, or you're sick. Maybe that's what's causing it. Okay, so we have a lot of people here that love Bigfoot, Yetis. We were out at ECETI looking for some. Some people had some really cool experiences. Shiny got goosed by a baby one, and so I thought that was really cool. But let's show them what you have here. This is, you can give us the backstory, how you found it and all that.
Okay. All right. So where I go walking in the bush with the kids, that's behind the home, is also a place is where I pick up the wood, the driftwood, and everything else. And had a couple of little experiences where we've been unsure whether or not we might have a local yowie or not. Now,
Right.
it, you know, I
So that's
don't
what they,
know.
a Yowie, you said?
We call them a yowie over
Oh,
here.
cool. Okay. Yeah, because I know
Yeah,
Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, there's all sorts of names depending on where you're at. So
yeah. So
Yowie, that's cool.
Sasquatch would be the same as our yowie over here.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And we've got there's quite a variety of them
Mm, okay.
as well. A lot of them, it's perfect environment. It's the mountain range that runs right from Victoria right through where a lot of the bushfires were, Shane, right up through New South Wales up to Queensland,
Okay.
and that's where a lot of the sightings are mainly taken. So there's a wonderful chappie. I can't think of his name, but he's yowiehunter.com, and there's people, you know, people are ringing up quite regularly and he usually does an audio with them, and he's fantastic the way he interviews them. But yeah, there's something in it, that's for sure.
Very cool. So, what do you think
Yeah.
they are? Do you think they're multi-dimensional beings? Like, have you got to see any with your own eyes, like phasing in or phasing out, that sort of thing?
My daughter and I, when we went walking, we're on the dirt track, and we stopped because we were across the gully. There was a black figure around about the 6 foot mark, and it was just all dark.
Hmm.
And admittedly, it was hard, I suppose, because the sun was setting as it was. So I don't know how much shadow we were getting or anything like that. And we tried to explain it away as, well, we weren't really too sure to explain it
Right.
away
Right.
as. But it was really strange. We just stood there staring across the valley, and then we just, it sort of just bobbed down, and we just walked on our way as if that's normal.
Wow.
You know, I couldn't give you any distinct features, only that the colour and that my daughter was with me. But yeah, just I sometimes think that our dog Coda sometimes goes up there and hangs out with somebody up there. That's for sure.
Very cool. So you've got some hard evidence though that I think looks fabulous that I'm
Oh,
excited to share.
okay. So the children and I, we went for a walk, and this walk is a walk that you don't do that often because it's a really steep hike up. And I mean, it's worth it when you get to the top because you're at the top where you can see all over the valley and everything else. It's really stunning. But very few people live just. We've got someone right down the end of the dirt road, and another neighbour across the way. But it's a place where, well, I've never seen anyone else going walking before or anything like that up in this area. And so I went walking with the kids, and I all of a sudden I stepped in something and I looked down and I went, oh, what's that? And on closer inspection, it was this guy here. Am I too close, Shane? Do you tell me where to put it?
Right about there is perfect. Yeah,
Yeah?
because you can see the fingers, you can see the lines in the palm, and
Okay. So as you can see from my hand, it's fairly,
yeah, it's
fairly, you know, fairly good size.
yeah,
But it was more so where it was very hard ground. We hadn't had much rain or anything, but it was more so the depth of the print also that was in the ground as well. You know, for, the impression that it made. My foot definitely went inside it.
So let's
Yeah,
show
it
the
was,
edge of it. How you actually poured it, but it's got a little bit around the edges that really
okay,
need to
so
be
these little
broken
bit,
off.
just these
Yeah,
little bits, tiny bits here, and just a little bit up the top here. These little bits here are just run-off bits from it. It stops around just
right,
uh, about there, I think, is the top of the actual cast. But
right.
you
But
can
you might
see all the
actually ruin the other part if you try to take off
trim it
the
off.
edges. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was a bit concerned about. I just
right.
brushed it back as much as you can still see. It's got little bits and that, you know, like from the ground and that through it. But it just, I, well, the kids think I'm a little bit kooky. They humour me quite a bit. But this walk was a walk that, unless you thought there might have been something in it, you probably wouldn't have bothered to go back and do the cast.
Right.
Because it was such a hard walk to get up there. And for the kids to go, yeah, all right, I'll come back with you and do the plaster cast and then come back again and retrieve the plaster cast.
Right.
You know, I mean, they're fit and all the rest of it, but, you know, it was a big ask and they were happy to come along with me, which sort of said to me, maybe they think that there's something in this as well. But look, you're the first one to see it, Shane, outside of
And I love the little
the,
point at the little marks on the hands for people because you can actually see the little across the
yeah,
palm and even the
where
knuckles.
you
You can see
see
how
the
the
little pad across here
yeah,
as well, and then you've got your fingers coming through here, and I'm assuming the thumb there, and then the base
like the heel of the hand.
at the palm part
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are
So
the
that
parts
was
that are the
really
deepest.
interesting.
It actually looks like they the when you hold it from the side view, you can see how the white was all put right on like sort of those knuckles in the base of the palm.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
right
the
in that
white bearing.
central part there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shane. So look, I mean, it could, it could be I don't know, a farmer. Not that there's really farmers up there, or it could be someone who'd gone shooting, you know, they'd gone, you know, hunting or something. I don't know, but I tell you what, how deep it was when they landed. They would have landed pretty heavy and probably hurt themselves,
Right.
you know, with the amount of the impression that it made in the ground. So, you know, I just thought,
It'd be a big
what,
hand for a farmer too. So either
pardon?
what I said that would be a big hand for a farmer. So we'd still have to give him
It is.
props.
Do you think it's quite? It is quite large, isn't it? I suppose
Oh
when you
yeah,
put, yeah. So that's up
amazing.
where I get all the driftwood and that from as well in that area. But I don't think it's in. I'm trying to. If there is, I talk to it with telecommunication, you know, and trying to speak to it all the time. So let them know that we're just human beings being, and that we mean no harm. And if anything, we'd love to meet you.
Right.
But try not to do it in a scary manner. If you just do it probably from a distance, give us a wave first. That would be nice.
Right.
Just slow and gentle interaction to start with.
Oh, I feel you. Yeah, just don't pop up right behind me or anything. Start
Yeah,
off, run between a couple of trees in the distance first, or something.
yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, give us a little space between us.
Right, right.
Oh, look, I think I'm so tough, but as soon as we hear a noise or something, we're,
It does help when you're with a group of brave people and everybody's being brave for each other, and it just, it helps. But it is kind of like chains in a link. If you get one person to freak out and start running, it's kind of hard for everybody else and then to be like, I think I'm going to run
to
too.
hold it, yeah. Oh, no, my daughter's great. She goes, come, Mum, we'll go walking. And I'll go, no. And she goes, no, it's all right. and she's all tough and, oh no, let's go do it. And and then we walked past this tree the other day, the other night, and we went for a night walk up the dirt road, and the bird must have been in the tree right next to us that made a noise, and she fairly grabbed a hold of me. Yeah. So yeah, I said, yeah, you're so tough. So I know that I've got to be in the right mind frame if we're going to do anything like that, because I think I'm the one that's supposed to be the protector.
Right. Yeah, especially
Let us do a
kids.
thing.
The kids are gonna revert back to mom's the mother bear, the mom bear. She's the
Yeah.
protector. So
Well, I actually had to do the alpha yesterday. Actually, I went for a walk when we went to the creek, and we'd taken Coda, our dog, down, and there was a young girl who was walking her two dogs, and mine's as friendly as can be, but one of them must have felt a little bit threatened and decided about to start something. And just this internal mother bear or whatever it was came through, and I felt roared, just this noise come out. Well, they just stopped in their tracks, and that was the end of it. But I must have pulled the alpha on them or something. But
I love that.
Yeah.
I do want to get like your take on the Mandela effect. I like to ask everybody. So like, have you been experiencing it? What was like your first one, or what can you tell me about your Mandela effect journey?
Okay, well, I thought I had a couple. Well, I had the first one I ever had was to do with the Mona Lisa, and that was a bit of a very personal story about an experience I went through with breast cancer. But everything's fine. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all great. But I was shown, for me to get to the doctor, I was shown a picture of the Mona Lisa where she was completely exposed, where she didn't have any top on. And I know that that's not how she is represented. When I look at her today, she's fully covered. And I used to wonder whether or not that was the reason what was such a big deal about Mona Lisa was she wasn't a natural stunner beauty, I suppose from a female perspective, maybe from guys, she was absolutely gorgeous. But I wondered whether or not that was what the big deal was back in that day, being so risque with showing the breast. Mm-hmm. And the article spoke about how they believed that that's how Mona Lisa died, was because of the puckering around her left nipple, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. And I went to the doctors, and he said yes, that was what they thought it had happened. And I could never find that reference again of Mona Lisa. Never again, to be able to show somebody. A girlfriend of mine who lived in a different state years ago, she said that many years ago they had an ad on television with a famous painting, but she was of a blonde lady that I'd never actually sighted before, who was, and because I was in a different state, we didn't actually get those advertisements, talking about breast cancer and how they believed that this representation of, in this painting was how that she may have passed away. But it was the exact same story, but mine was the Mona Lisa. But I cannot find that information again. And I did go to the doctor that I went to was in the same state as where that ad was. And even though he said, yes, that is right, I can't know now whether or not he was humouring me because he just thought, oh, yeah, he's talking about that ad that was on, which I didn't know about at the time, or how he remembered it as well. I don't know. But to this day, I cannot find any residue of that at all. To me, it was the original Mona Lisa. I see it still now in my mind's eye, but I cannot find it anywhere.
That's amazing. So that's cool, though. We get to get people to chime in if they remember that, because there's always something familiar about. Well, not always, but a lot of times. And while that's not the main Mona Lisa that I remember, there is something familiar about it. which is
Yeah.
strange, you know. And it's actually quite small painting. If you like, if you see the actual thing, it's really unimpressive with the size.
Is
You know.
it?
Yeah, it's actually just, yay big or something. It's not very big at all.
About the size of your computer screen sort of thing on an angle.
Right, right. But okay, but what's cool about it is it's like sort of where I've gotten to with the Mandela effect is feeling like, what is it trying to tell me? Let's look a little bit deeper into all of this. And for you, it actually got you to go and get checked out for breast cancer before you knew you had it.
Yeah,
And it actually did lead to a diagnosis, seeing this, right?
that's right. That's right. My doctor actually thought maybe he'd missed something the first time when I came in with that, um, when I had seen the picture, and that's what actually prompted me. It's not something I'd ever been scared of. It's not something that was ever in my family.
Mm-hmm.
I've got two sisters, and with mum, it's cancer is never. I'm the first one. I'm the youngest of six, and even with relatives and things like that, just never. We've been really, really fortunate. Really fortunate. My father actually passed away a couple of weeks before I come across it. It's not normally I that would have actually found it. I'd actually had a couple of scares earlier, but that was only from my doctor doing self-examination when I'd go in to, for your regular checkup and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the one that had a couple of scares many years ago, and it was nothing, it was nothing to be concerned about at all. And anyway. My dad was in palliative care for the last week of his life, and mum had looked after him at home beautifully. And I was in the palliative care unit, and I was behind these two nurses, and they were talking to each other, and they were talking about Dad, and they said, what cancers does Bob Gray have? And the other nurse said, no, he doesn't have any cancers. And I, a little bit up myself, walking behind, said, yeah, that's right, because us Greys, we don't get cancer. Famous last words. Anyway, so there's a lot of it to it. There's a lot of experiences that I had, whether or not I was being pointed in the right direction, Shane. Like I said, the doctor was the one who'd found, a couple of, but they were lumps, but nothing to worry about. They were benign and everything else. It was all good, and I was never really concerned at all. And the morning of my dad's funeral, he got buried over in Gippsland, over in a place called Buchan, and. Anyway, I was staying in a town not far away from there before the funeral, a little place called Seaspray. And as it turns out, Seaspray is right on the corner. It's on the 90-mile beach, right at the base of Australia, just before you head over Bass Strait to go to Tasmania. And if you're going to have a Bermuda Triangle in our area, that's actually... Seaspray sits right on the corner of that, what they call our Bermuda Triangle per se, where mysterious things have happened, where planes and boats and that and everything have gone missing. And I actually was sitting on the sand dune, and I was just sitting there looking out, and it was very clear. The sun was just coming up. There was a Navy boat, I believe, right across far off on the horizon, and I brought my eyes down to the base of where the water crashes and everything right at the beach, and noticed these two amazing orbs that seemed to be communicating with one another. One was down, one was up, and they seemed to be sort of slightly moving, and they were really vibrant orangey red inside, like a fiery sort of colour. Mm-hmm. And it was like when I'd noticed them, they all of a sudden noticed me noticing them. And with that, one of them, just because it was down at the waterline, I was sitting up on the sand dune, and it actually turned, it felt like it actually rotated towards me and then shot up towards past my face really, really fast, up past my head and out of sight. By the time I looked back, the other one had gone. And anyway, by the Saturday, I'd never done my own self-examination. My doctor had always done that for me whenever I'd gone in, for a checkup or anything like that. and I happened to find a lump, and I would have thought, oh, that's always, the doctor's done that before. That's just part of who I am. But something said, no, Joe, go into the doctor's. And I went in on the Monday. That was on the Saturday or the Sunday. I went in on the Monday, and it was, and it actually, it was quite an aggressive one, as it turns out. So I often wonder whether or not, with the synchronicities and everything else, what these things were a part of my. Was I being told somehow by that orb? Perhaps was I given a message as it flew past me, or did it give me something because I sprung it and annoyed the. I busted it. All right, I'll get you.
So you're wondering if the orbs flying by was trying to get you to pay attention to it, or if they were actually giving you.
Because I annoyed them so much by springing them in the act. I didn't know if I'd.
We'll show you for spying us out in the water.
Yeah, take that. We'll teach you. No, look, I don't know. Look, I'll go with the more positive outline and say yes, it was somebody giving me a message. Because it turned out that it was the first time I ever did my own self-examination, and it was something.
Right.
So I'm not too sure, Shane. Someone's looking over us, or.
I believe so. Yeah. I really do.
I know Sherry had, and that's what was beautiful also with that story, is it sounded so similar to the one Sherry explained to you when she was, I think, in her pool or her spa, and her daughter was behind her, and it had come right up to her, and her daughter was able to say, I see it too, Mum. And that was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I love that story. Yeah. The Merkaba spirit guide or whatever. So did it look like a fiery orb to you? You said it was fiery colored, right?
It was really really strong orangey sort of reddy sort of colours. They both were identical. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say, I say a soccer size ball. It wouldn't have been anything bigger than a basketball, but I still say soccer ball. I know there's not much of a difference in size, and that was back in 2013 was that experience, that one.
So when it flew by you, did you feel anything off of it, like you would normally feel if something flew by you? No wind, no kind of energy.
No, nothing. It was just like a bat out of hell. It just flew past me so quick, about a foot away from my face. Wow. But no, I didn't feel anything. It didn't have the sun was just coming up, so I don't know with the lighting and everything else, but it didn't seem to emanate like a light, like it was glowing or anything. It was like all the colour was held within the actual orb itself.
Right. Yeah. Still very cool. Very, very cool.
It was. Yeah, so.
Well, awesome.
I'm sure I did have a point somewhere, but I think I've forgotten what it was. But anyway.
No, just it happening like that and keying you off into noticing it and doing the self-exam and stuff. I think, we get signs all the time, and a lot of times we'll blow them off. But now I'm really suspicious now. If anything happens out of the norm, I'm like, why did that happen? Is there a message there? So I know I probably seem crazy to people, but anytime something out of the normal happens, I'm like, is it a sign? What am I supposed to be learning from this? This is different.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking at life completely different, isn't it? As sometimes as lonely as this can feel at times, and especially when family isn't on board with how where you're at, and but to have something, we're really questioning everything now, and everything is up for grabs, and nothing is a certain, that's for sure. Is these people, is the earth flat, is it this, is it that, or whatever else. I'd be damn sure it's not what we're being told it is. I don't know what it is, but it's really grouse trying to work out what, to know that one day that we might be able to find out these answers, and there's more to the world than what we've been told. It sort of feels like we're nearly being told that we're just a speck of sand, on the beach sort of thing. We're so, insignificant and we're light years away from everything. And now all of a sudden we just might not be so much. Who knows?
Right.
You know, and it makes life really exciting. It really is a beautiful time to be alive.
It is
Mm.
exciting, and I know even outside of our own, we think of space beings, but I think we've got. We were just talking about the Yetis or the Yowies. You guys call them? You said Yowies? Is that
Yeah.
right?
I didn't answer that for you, did I? What I actually thought.
Oh
Sorry.
no, 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 no. Let's go back.
Yeah. No, I probably agree, probably very close to what you say, that um, I do have a photo. When I was at Bermagui on a holiday, when I just, the day my hair started falling out from taking chemo, I'd gone over to Bermagui just to have a little break.
Hmm.
And in the sky, there was like a shooting star, but it wasn't going, it was like a big round huge ball in the sky with sort of like a trail coming off it,
Hmm.
and it was just going straight across. There was no going down or anything, it was just going straight across.
Hmm.
And I felt like I had a telecommunication with a being in my house when I got back, and I'd had a photo of taken of while I was down there, and I said to the being, "Have I seen you before?" And it told me that I was in this. It was in that particular picture. Now, the closest thing that I can see in that picture would be probably a yowie in the backdrop in the bushland.
Wow.
And I have heard that with yowies, there seems to be sometimes like a UFO sighting of like that ball with that flame, the flames coming out of it, that people have connected those two before.
Hmm.
But then again, I don't know if there's that's another entity that's sort of communicating with them that it's around. I don't know if they've probably got. I don't see them having more so a spaceship, but I certainly do see them also having maybe that interdimensional where they can phase in and out.
Yeah, that's what
You
I
know,
think so too.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that telepathy. I nearly felt like we were sort of in a daze, like we were watching this thing. I mean, it sounds strange. Why don't I know more details than just a black figure? But my daughter's the exact same. It was nearly like we might have been, if it's some sort of mind thing going on there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
often hear stories like that where it sounds like they were suggested something like, "Go on, you didn't see anything," or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's sort of
Yes.
like they're like, "Okay, I didn't see
Off
anything.
you go.
Fine. I'm off." Yeah, and then you think
Oh.
back, you're like, "Why did we ignore that, or where did the time go?" I've had some weird time things happen, but gosh, it's
Yeah.
so hard to know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's all up for grabs, isn't it? And
Yeah,
the fact that more and more people are speaking about it, it really is. It's really exciting.
it is exciting. Yeah, it would
We're
be
just going to
really.
ignore those naysayers.
Yeah, yeah, and it would be scary if you had no one else to talk to about it. But at least we have each other. We're seeing it, and
Yeah,
people have someone they can talk to, even if it's not someone in their immediate family that can come on the channel or whatever, or get on the
yeah,
forum. They don't even have to chat. I know a lot of people are just listeners, and they want to just join in from maybe the forum or an email or something. Whatever, it's cool. Just reach out. Whatever you feel comfortable with.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's a really, for the people back in the day, there must be so many people, that if only they had people around them that they could have spoken to about, that isolation, that am I going crazy, all those sorts of things,
Yeah.
just down to those tiny things of the shaking of you when you're in the bed and things, or those little, just the smallest thing just gives you that peace of mind that, hey, even if I'm a little bit crazy, I'm certainly not alone.
Very true. And if you're experiencing it and you're almost as far away as you can possibly be to me on, assuming it's the planet that we've been told it is,
Yeah,
and
well,
you're
that's it. Probably just
experiencing it,
around the corner.
right? Well, there was a theory going around that Australia didn't even exist. I don't know if you heard about that
Yeah.
one going around.
Well, I have heard, but it's look, it was a bit funny. I don't. Well, who knows? Who knows? There was this movie where I remember watching. No, I didn't watch the movie. It was just something on YouTube about the map of the world, and there must have been a movie made about it. And he said, what happens if actually the countrysides are all different sizes? You think this one's this size, but it's actually this big.
Right.
And what happens if Australia's actually up on the northern hemisphere and we're down? And she said, but you can't do that. And he said, why not? And she said, because you're freaking me out. Basically, I don't want to know that.
I hope somebody posts that movie below, because I've seen that where they say, well, if you look here, Africa's would really swallow America up, and I don't know. They were just showing that the size comparisons were adjusted. It wasn't like perfect, and it was like Greenland was really like just as big as the whole United States or something weird like that,
Yeah, it all had to do with power, depending on the size of your country and things like that, or something that they would. Yeah, but no, I haven't actually seen the movie, but I think it'd probably be quite a good one to watch.
Yeah.
But I can't think of what the name was, but I know that it was used in a YouTube video or something about it.
I saw that video, but not the movie, I think.
Yeah. We'll have to watch it. Yeah.
So hopefully somebody can chime in with that, put a link, or even if you can find the original one, I think that'd be interesting. And we can probably find the original one from the video that we're both talking about that we clearly both saw. I think it was a Mandela Effect video.
Yeah, I think it was it?
Seems like in 2017. Was it a while ago that you saw it?
Yes, that would be about right. 2017 that I saw it, I would say. I mean, it's so hard to know at times now. Everything just seems to be just speeding up. It's just unbelievable. No, just about with Mandela effects, I did think that I had a couple with regards, which I was really happy to find out they weren't a Mandela effect. Just people had just changed things over time. Because when I finally found the original, there was one particular one by John Williamson. He's an Australian chappie and musician. Have you heard of John Williamson before,
not
Shane?
Sure.
And he sings True Blue, and I don't know if he sang. I think he might have sang it at Steve Irwin's funeral, and with the crocodile hunter,
right.
and the lyrics to the modern way it's being presented is that they're putting in the word Vegemite. And it used to be, how I remember it, how will she be right? Because we've got an expression, I don't know if you've got the expression over there, but she'll be right, mate. Chin up, she'll be right. And so I had actually questioned, because the lyrics are, is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight? How will she be right? True Blue. And they've been saying, is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight? Vegemite, True Blue. And I'm thinking, no, it was never Vegemite.
Which is a sandwich or something, right?
Vegemite's a spread that we put on. Most of you Americans think we're absolutely crazy, but if you just put a very light spread on with butter, it's really tasty. Nobody likes a thick spread of Vegemite, but that's how you guys usually test it and go, oh, yuck, this is gross.
What does it look like, guacamole or something?
No, it's I can get you some if you like.
No.
Do you want to see what Vegemite looks like?
I'll be surprised when I come to Australia.
Yeah, look, if you guys do. Well, have you ever thought about coming over and doing anything as far as having your show or?
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Look, there'd be so many people that would just love to hook up with you. The like-minded people that, beautiful people within in Australia that that I haven't contacted really. Isn't it funny that I'm also reaching out to you guys, but it's not as out there as what it as the YouTube as it is in America, that's for sure, and other places in the world. But we'll get there. Yeah.
So
you do.
Have you heard of the ECETI in Australia?
I have. ECETI, is that the one with James Gilliland over there and Peter Maxwell Slattery over here?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So you don't know how close he is, or do you know?
I'll tell you a little story about that. Peter, well, back in about 2011, I had Peter come to my home.
Oh, wow.
Because, yeah, he lived not far away at all. And
Wow.
he'd written a couple of books and a couple of stories even on our local cemetery and everything and different things like that. And I'd had a picture of something in the sky, and where I was doing some study at the time, one of the girls had this picture on her phone that she just didn't know how it got there. It's like this tall ET or something had taken a screenshot of itself or something from the waist down.
Wow.
And so we were so curious. So anyway, Pete had been on the local news and different things, and I happened to come across him, and I just wanted to send him the information. He said, "Look, would you like me to come out?" And I said, "Oh, that would be fantastic."
Wow.
So he was really lovely and brought out a couple of his books for me as well, which were actually on Orbs too, which was really great, with
Yeah.
considering, a couple of years later, I ended up having my own experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Pete's has a lot of footage apparently and a lot of experience. He seems to be able to call them in at will, I think.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
So that would be probably my first place I'd be eyeballing if I was going to try to hit up a place. I just don't know if he's like central enough to Australia because I know it seems like everyone lives at the coast. It's like
Okay,
Australia is
so
pretty
where would
big,
you like
right?
to visit Australia? Is there anywhere in particular that you wanted to come, or I think Pete's located in Melbourne.
Okay.
Um, uh, Look, there's plenty of beautiful people that are really out there putting themselves out there. I think in Melbourne and Sydney and even Queensland, there's beautiful strange encounters down under with Cheryl Cottrell, I think her name is, and Sifu and Barry, I think their names are. And they hardly get many hits on the YouTube videos, but gee, they're great to listen to because they are, it feels like home, sometimes to hear about some stories and whatever
Yeah.
else of sightings and different things that they interview people and stuff. But no, I think he just actually had out the boys from Edge of Wonder.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard of the Edge of Wonder boys? I think it's Ben
Oh,
and
yeah.
Rob.
Exactly. Yep.
And
Been in Rome.
James Gilliland came out as well. And Barry Littleton, I think it is. I think he might be an English chappie. And somebody else as well that I can't, I apologise, I can't think of his name.
That's okay.
But they came out and did a conference in Melbourne and Sydney.
Okay. Was
And they
that
were
this
out for
year?
a couple of weeks. This year, January it was. It started
Oh, wow.
January. Yeah, so right when the fires, I think their families were a bit concerned about them coming out. But no, they were fine. I mean, although Pete's house at that time was constantly under red alert and everything else, um, you know, having to worry about whether or not he was going to lose his home. But no, I think it was quite a success for the boys. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to go to Europe and Australia really
Yeah.
soon. You know, really
Yeah.
all the English-speaking world. I think it'd be nice to go to, and then branch out from there. But probably not this
Maybe I
year.
should get
Maybe
really
next year.
tough, should I, and put something together?
Yeah, that'd be cool. We can combine. There's like I'm trying to think. There's probably a half dozen people that I know down in Australia. I'm not sure where all you guys are located, but that would be
Yeah.
cool. Like Nicola, who comes on quite often. But
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was terrific as well, wasn't she? Yeah, no,
and she's been
she's like
around for a
me. I
while.
think she was saying she was talking 1,000 miles a minute or something like that. You know, we're so deprived here in Australia that when we get an opportunity, we just blah. We want you to know everything in 5 minutes flat.
Oh, it's all great. And it's cool because you don't have anybody to talk to. So if we can have a get
Yeah.
together down there, that'd be cool.
Oh, look, I'm sure if the likes of you guys came over, that would all make damn sure that we're in the same area to catch up.
Might have to just meet in the middle, have everybody
If you guys
come
can
in.
come all that way, I'm sure we can wangle it to all get together at a certain place. Yeah.
Is there people that drive coast to coast in Australia there?
Drive coast to coast?
Yeah, like
What is?
just like drive, take a highway from one side to the other, like you might do in the states here.
No, not really.
People just
No,
fly. Too much jungle. No connecting highways.
lot of desert in between.
Okay, so most people
Look, no,
fly
look.
if it's.
If you're going to do a trip around Australia, you have to be really, really prepared. You need to know what you're doing. You just can't just jump in the car and go.
Oh, you can do that in America. You can just pretty much hop on an interstate and know that you'll eventually hit a coast at some point.
Too much road between each petrol station, things like that.
Right.
You really need to have, you need to be prepared. Yeah, look, traveling from, uh, I, s- well, it's such a big space, but yeah, look, a lot of people do it, and I would love to do it. Go across the middle of the country and with Uluru and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to take your time, do your homework, and make sure that you're fully equipped for something like that. And you wouldn't want to go alone. It's nearly something that you'd need a couple of cars to go with you in case you broke down or anything like that.
Wow. It really is out
Yeah,
in the middle of nowhere,
it really is.
huh?
Hey, but you know what? You can certainly meditate out there and you won't be disrupted one little bit.
That's one thing that it's
You'll
hard to
find that
do.
solitude, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's totally hard to get away from humans here, no matter where you go. And then I don't like to venture too far off the beaten trail anyway. But
Yeah.
I guess there's animals there. You got to worry about crocodiles or alligators or whatever, right?
Well, that's more up in northern part of Australia that you'd have to be concerned about that in Northern Territory and northeast and northern Queensland.
Well, what's the scariest
Um,
animal? Bears or what do you have down
well, we've got drop bears, which you tourists really have to be aware of.
there?
They're not. We're terrible. They're koalas. They're not going to drop on you. You're fine.
Okay. Yeah, I think koalas are so cute.
But yeah, we tell them that we tell the tourists that they're drop bears and to be careful when you're standing under a tree. We like to mess around a little bit, but no, look, really, it's your look. We've got our crocs, but nothing down anywhere in unless you live right up the very top of Queensland. You don't have to worry about crocs.
Oh,
And
okay.
we're up in Western Australia, or right up the top. Um, you're going to find that sort of thing in the waters and stuff.
Hmm.
But
So it's koalas and humans that want to prank you about the koalas. Then
yeah, no, look,
that's.
we've got some of the most venomous snakes and spiders in Australia. We've got your browns and all you got your redbacks and all those sorts of things. I mean, your redback's probably not going to take your life. A brown certainly can. We've got a number of snakes that certainly could. If you haven't got if you're too far away and whatever else, you're going to be struggling.
All right.
But look, you just use your common sense in Australia. I know a lot of people freak out about coming to Australia because of the creepy crawlies and all the rest of it, but it's you're fine. Most of them, spiders are usually scaredy cats anyway. They usually like to, hide. And snakes will too, unless you catch them by surprise. A
Mm.
brown will go up and go you. But that's only because you've come into its space all of a sudden.
Right.
If they can get an opportunity to get away, they will. Absolutely. If you make enough noise on the ground, with the vibration and things like that, that
They'll
yeah,
just stay clear. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely,
That's pretty much
absolutely.
how it usually is. Unless you're stumbling upon some babies or something like that, some kind of
Yeah,
animal's nest or something like that. They usually try to avoid you. Seems like
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, yeah, just looking out and just, but no, on a regular basis, no one really goes around dying from the wildlife in Australia.
Well, you never find them. It's like, they just decide not to come back.
What was yeah. Oh, they went
Right.
walkabout.
They went walkabout. That's right. I love Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Yeah, we actually had Paul Hogan do a movie in Yakandanda called Strange Bedfellows with a chappie called Michael Keaton, who's another famous Australian, Keaton, who's another famous Australian. Have you ever seen The Castle before?
I don't
The
think
movie
so.
The Castle. Oh, it's a classic Australian movie. If you ever get a chance, you probably. Well, he's the main guy out of that. And they're two guys that are pretending to be a gay couple to avoid the tax man.
Oh.
And it was actually filmed in Yakandanda. So yeah, so the locals got to be a part of that as well, which was
Is it an
which
older
was
movie?
oh gosh, I don't know what year it would have been done. Um, it was before I come out to Yak to live, so it'd be good. It'd be over 10 years, probably about 10 years, 11 years old.
Okay.
The Strange Bedfellows, it's called, but that
Right.
was actually filmed in Yak. Yeah.
Uh, Very nice.
So if you want to see a bit of that sort of thing, but yeah, which is a bit of a rarity, so it's a bit of a treat for the Yak people when something like that happens.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Well, Joe, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and let everybody meet you and explain the beautiful Orgone ones that you created for all of us. And I can't thank you enough. I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
Oh, Shane, my pleasure, sweetheart. It was just something that I needed to do, and I'm so glad that I took that step and actually did it. Yeah.
And I have no doubt it's going to inspire other people to get into it too. So if anybody wants to contact you or something, they can contact me and I can connect you guys up if they want some tips. You might have to start your own YouTube channel about how you make these things because
Well, I
they're so
was
cool.
wondering. Thanks, Shane. Look, I was actually also going to put out there because they really do just create themselves for whoever they're meant to be for.
Hmm.
And I really feel that. And if you would like to put my, I don't know, we hadn't actually spoken about this, but if anyone would love for me to actually make them a wand, I look, I mean, I would have to charge, to make it, I suppose, but, and whatever, I hadn't even thought about price or anything like that. Maybe even if you could give me your input on what you think would be a reasonable, what you thought would think would be a good price for them. But I'd be, if they wanted to send me an email, and I can then communicate from there with them, and I'd be more than happy to make them one.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There you
So,
go. That could that could snowball into something big. You never know. That's
especially if we get them tested and they say, oh my goodness, they're so powerful.
yeah. What do you test them with though? I've got one of those EMF apps on my phone, and I've checked it
Yeah.
around my pyramid and some of the other stuff. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but it doesn't seem to make a difference. But I don't know. It could just be
I
the
don't know
app
if
is
it's,
bogus. you know.
what was that?
I said it could be that the app that I got on my phone is bogus. Maybe it doesn't really detect anything or something. I don't know.
I
But
just
I
don't
haven't
know
checked the
how.
wands. I never even bothered to check the wands because it didn't work on any of the other stuff I tested a long time ago. So I'm not sure how
Ex-
you go about testing them. It'd be nice if somebody could let us know. Leave a little thing, a little comment, because it'd be cool to test them.
Oh, it
See which
certainly
one's more
would. It
effective
certainly would.
because they each have different things, different amounts of stuff. So get to see which
Yep.
one's more powerful or which one
Yeah.
blocks out the
Because
EMFs
yours got
better.
the gold in it as well, whether or not with those elements in it, whether or not it gives it more of a power. The Orgone healing chamber that Wilhelm Reich made,
Hmm.
from memory, I believe it was done, the outside was an organic matter, which you could say like the wood is the outside, it's the organic matter.
Hmm.
And then on the inside, next layer was the inorganic, which I was thinking might be with the resin.
Hmm.
And they somehow, with the organics, they're shooting back frequencies or whatever to each other. And then you've got your inorganic, which is then doing something else, was shooting it backwards and
Right.
forwards. I'm not exactly sure on the science of it, Shane, but and then with the organic, with the crystal and that inside it as well, and the metal with the inorganic, organic, with the layering is what makes it effective, I believe, especially with the orgone healing chambers. Anyway, so
Right.
whether or not that just yeah, but it would really be interesting to see. I would love to get that, but I don't know how. So at the moment, it's just something that's just I hope a lot of people get a lot of pleasure out of if they do want them.
Well, it's
If that's
infused. It's infused with a lot of love and intention. So
yes,
that part you can guarantee.
yeah. Thanks, Shane.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Joe.
No worries at all, Shane. Yeah, and again, just if anyone wants to contact me at all, just you've got my email address.
Yeah. Anybody
And
can
you,
contact me through the website or through my email, and I can get you in touch with Joanne in Australia.
oh, thank you, Shane. Oh, it's been such a pleasure, and I can't wait to see how the girls go with theirs as well.
Yeah, I can't wait till they have it in their hand when we go live, and they can show what they think about it and everything. So,
All right.
lots
All
of
right. Well,
love
I think I've
to.
been grinning from ear to ear the whole time, so it, I could keep talking. That's just, that's just me. But no, I'm just so grateful for everything you've done. Like I said, I expected a thank you, and that was it. So for you to do this for me and bring me out of my shell, it's a really special thing for me too. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And hopefully it inspires other people to get out of their shell. The time is
Yes.
now, folks.
If anyone can do it, and I did it, you guys can too. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's almost like we're coming back. We're like, come on out. It's safe. It really is. It's safe. Come on
Yeah.
out.
And like I said, if and also being with you guys, that I couldn't have been in more safer hands. If I was to talk myself out of it, I really would have regretted it.
Yeah.
Because who better to be, around than you guys with the way with your hearts as well. So thank you, Shane.
Well, thank you, because you're part of the group too. You're what makes this group what it is. So thank you.
Thanks, Shane.
Well, lots of love and light to everybody watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace. Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.